So apparently Crater caused a quiet little uproar on social media because it's a Disney Plus original movie that was taken off Disney Plus after a month and a half. So I needed to see exactly why that is and if it was justified. Now, if you're here just for the review, refer to the timestamp shown on the screen, but starting off, I think I should explain exactly why this streaming only movie is no longer on a streaming platform. And to be honest, it's pretty simple. It's money. Now, I know some of you conspiracy theorists might have a different reasoning as to why, and I'm down to hear it, but from the research and articles I've read, it just seems like Disney blew their load on Disney Plus and Hulu, so now they're trying to recoup some money. And if you're curious as to how an already finished movie leaving a streaming platform is helping them save money, it comes from them no longer having to pay residuals because it is no longer streaming to even receive residual compensation. Also, to make sure I'm covering all bases here, if you're unfamiliar on how residuals work in streaming, most, and I quote, I'm reading this from an article, it's calculated based on the amount that a performer was originally paid and how many subscribers the streaming platform has. The percentage rate is applied for the first year, then continues to decline until year 13. From there, the smallest percentage rate is applied in perpetuity. Now, of course, that money is going to get divvied up between, like, probably some of the director, production people, producers, actors, all that other jazz and matazz, but that's pretty much cut and dry how residuals work when it comes to streaming. So with all that being said, maybe now some of you who are confused can now understand why Disney took off a movie that was so new. Not saying I agree with it, because I feel the complete opposite actually, but I feel like understanding both sides can help you form a better opinion of your own. Keyword of your own. Now that that's done, let's get to the movie itself. So a big reason why I wanted to watch this movie is because of the drama surrounding it. After a few minutes into it, I actually became intrigued by the plot and was curious to see how a Disney Plus original movie that was still kid focused would kind of be like. Now, first off, I must say, I love the setting and effects. If this is the type of money Disney Plus is going to be pumping into their original content, then I'm all for it. But after the whole debacle with this movie, I'll hold my breath on that. Now, the story in it is pretty straightforward. It follows the story of a kid named Caleb who lives on the moon in a settlement for workers and their families. But this kid just lost both his parents, and because of that, he's guaranteed transport to another planet that's basically Earth 2.0 as sort of like an orphan insurance policy. Apparently it's called like Omega, and it's supposed to be propped up to be like a better Earth. It's probably cleaner, stuff like that. Based off the setting and all that, it just made it seem like it's just a much cleaner, more friendlier to live in Earth is what it presented itself as. The only issue is that it requires a 75-year cryo sleep, which means by the time he makes it there, everyone he knows will be either dead or very elderly. Add on top of the fact that he'll never be able to see them again. So because of that, before he gets sent out to Omega, him and his friends go on a journey to this crater because that was his father's last wish before he passed. Now, there really isn't a spoiler in this movie, more so a revelation, but it's a revelation I think most will figure out within the first 15 to 20 minutes. But even then, it isn't super crucial to the plot like they wanted to make it seem. So there's no point in me even mentioning it, so don't worry about any spoilers, or spoiler I guess for this movie in particular. Now, as far as acting goes, I try not to be overcritical with kid actors, but this movie is like 90% kid actors with 10% adults. Also, I just looked them up for clarification and they're all basically 16 to 17 years old. So you know what, I'll take the gloves off with this. The acting was pretty abysmal, I'm gonna be honest. Not so bad that you can't sit through it, but bad enough that you'll be aware it's bad and start focusing on a different character at each scene to watch how bad they're going to be in it. So basically fun bad. There's also a few emotional scenes in particular that'll make you laugh because man oh man was it special seeing them try to execute it. Also, I'm probably not going to hold this movie against these guys and gal if I see them pop up on something else, because as far as Disney is concerned, this movie doesn't exist, so if it works for them, it works for me. Plus, I can see how it would be hard to be an unproven teen actor acting with other unproven teen actors the entire movie, so I'll cut them a little bit of slack. But with all that being said, there were indeed a few cool moments in this movie that you could put up against some of the A-tier Disney moments. Maybe not the legendary ones, we know what those are, but definitely in the A-tier. The one in particular for me that I absolutely love was when the main character Caleb finally makes it to Earth 2.0 or Omega, and for the next 5 or so minutes, it's just him playing all the recordings his best friend recorded for him once a year while he was in cryo sleep. And you start to hear his best friend get older to the point where he's talking about his grandkids and how he's going to take them to the crater that they traveled to back when they were teenagers themselves. It was shot well as well. They had really nice background music, and throughout the whole time when they're playing these audio recordings, also showcasing Caleb kind of getting accustomed to this new world, going to school, you know, meeting his new parents and stuff like that. I thought it was really well done how they kind of mixed in him getting well acquainted to this new world while also listening to a voice recording from his old friend back from basically his old life. There was also a moment between Caleb and the girl who just came from Earth where they shared this little segment where they talked about how they both basically couldn't be their true selves, or more so the girl brought it up, he was kind of just listening. But her whole process about it was that, you know, they both couldn't be who they really wanted to be to other people, because as far as people were concerned, she was just known as the girl who just came from Earth, and he was just known as the kid who lost both his parents. Unfortunately though, outside of those two moments, nothing else really hit me emotionally that made me care for the characters, and trust me, they made way more attempts than those two instances, especially for the other characters as well throughout the movie, but they were pretty forgettable, I'm gonna be honest. Even Caleb's best friend that they tried to, you know, kind of give like a sad story, I didn't really feel it. I understand his gripe, I understand his demons that he was fighting, I guess, but even still, his best friend, I really didn't feel much of anything for too, which is kind of interesting. I still felt something toward the end of the movie. I guess it was just more so how it was done, and because I actually did watch them kind of progress to their goal of reaching the crater and then seeing how that unfolded with the voice messages. I just thought that was really well done, even though I didn't really feel anything for the best friend, which I guess can kind of speak to how well that scene was in particular. So all in all, this movie to me is just whatever. It's definitely not something I would recommend because it's almost 2 hours and it drags quite a bit in the beginning and middle. And even though there were 2 moments that in my opinion was up to par for a Disney product, I don't think 10 minutes of dialogue can justify an hour and a half of mediocrity. Grade rating, I'll probably go to D+ because those 2 scenes were very well done, and if you can give me a scene where I actually feel something in a terrible film, I gotta give you credit for that. So that is going to do it for the review and I guess kind of news update. I don't know how many people actually were familiar with Crater. I do have a Disney Plus subscription. I actually have the bundle where it's the Disney Plus with Hulu with ESPN, and I don't really check for Disney Plus like that ever since they added all the Marvel movies and stuff like that. I didn't even really know they were putting out original content like that. Like, I didn't know this movie Crater existed until I saw on social media it was getting taken off after like a month and a half, or what was it, 7 weeks to be particular. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, this probably could make for a good video. And it actually was, you know, not a good movie, but the whole story about it and just how the story unfolded and all that, it was just, I felt like it was compelling enough to make a video. So that is going to do it. Until my next one, I will see you guys when I see you guys.